Hello friends and welcome back to our channel. This is going to be one of two videos since they were too long to combine into one. My name is Krista, I have an amazing husband and two little kids under two. I hope you enjoy hanging out with me today as I tackle different household projects. Stay tuned to the end and I'll tell you what's coming up in the next video. Good morning guys. Thank you for coming and joining me again. I hope... Who's that? Is that you? Today, I hope you enjoy hanging out with me. There's a bunch of things that I'm hoping to get done. I need to hang some hooks for a coat. Oh, it's snowing outside. Okay, we had a few days that were like super warm outside. This is so fun. Today though, it's freezing, which is why I'm like, okay, time to pull out the winter shirt. But, okay, I want to hang some coat hooks, hopefully, in the bedroom on that new wall that we changed out. I don't know if you saw the video, I can link it, but and then I'm hoping to hang some, I have some okay, these are the hooks. I'm hoping to hang these. And then I have a bunch of copper measuring cups that I would love to get hung on the wall so I can actually use them. I don't have room for them in the drawer where I keep most of my baking utensils, so I want to hang these up because they're just so pretty. Look at them. So pretty. So anyways, then there's some sewing to do, a skirt I'm hoping to make, and just some general sewing stuff. We'll see. There's just a bunch of random stuff. I have a whole bunch of garlic that I need to process. So if you want to hang out for a little bit with me, that would be awesome. Let's go do some work, okay? Okay, so for some of this, I'm going to pulverize it and put it in olive oil, stick it in the freezer, and then for some of it, I'm going to put in a jar with olive oil to kind of preserve it. So probably half and half. Basically, there had been some water leaking under the sink, so these got wet. So I put them in the sun to dry them out when it was warm a few days ago. But I noticed some of them were sprouting, and some of them are kind of squishy. So I'm going to get rid of the squishy ones. And we'll see what we have left over. Yeah. Sprouting. You guys, when I was listening back, editing this video, I was trying to figure out what that humming sound was on the recording, but who knows? It could have been the dishwasher for all I know. I don't remember. Anyways, I was just trying to tackle this because I had it out for... It had been a couple days since they had gotten wet. Then we had the really nice warm weather, so I put them outside to be in the sun to dry out. And then finally, when I got to them, I was like, I need to do something. I can't just put them back, because obviously, once I really got into it, there were some pretty soft ones, squishy ones. Just a tiny little bit of mold, maybe on one or two. So that was pretty good, but still, they needed help. One day I would really love to grow some garlic, but right now that's not the right time in my life to do it. I know you gotta plant it in November and then you get to reap the benefits the next year, but one of these days, that's one of those things just waiting and praying about, because waiting for God to provide the right place, so maybe some acreage or something. But for now, that's one thing I'm not able to do, and that's okay. Once it was all peeled, I was able to save the majority of it. There were some that were a bit soft, but they were at that point where I felt like they were still usable for sure. And so I just threw it in my Cuisinart and blended them up 2 batches at a time. I think I said I was going to put some in oil, but I decided there wasn't actually as many as I thought. I felt like there was a lot more garlic than there ended up being. So with that in mind, I just left it at this, just pulverized it, and then was like, we'll leave it with that for now. If you know of other techniques to store garlic, let me know. My mother-in-law last year gave me some that she had sliced, but she had sliced and dehydrated, which I totally could have done, but I didn't want to take the time to slice them up, so that's why I went with just chopping them up in the Cuisinart. Then I just smashed them down into the ice cube trays and poured in a little bit of olive oil. Now, I didn't want to put oil on all of them because I wanted to be able to cook with some knowing that there weren't any oil in it, just for when I do my carb-based meals. Somebody maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't. Maybe I could have done them all with olive oil. I don't know. I just figured, hey, to be on the safe side, I'll add the oil I need to when I go to cook it, and I'm just going to try to use it within a certain time frame so they don't get freezer burned, because I'm guessing that's what the oil's supposed to help with. I don't know.
Well, I finished with the garlic. I threw it in the freezer. So now let's make some pancakes. I wanted to make some banana pancakes that I could freeze and use for snacks and stuff, or just really easy breakfast. So these are pancakes. So they're a really nice, good carb source, and they taste delicious, warmed up or fresh, whatever. So anyways, let's go ahead and make them.
This recipe came from Trim Healthy Table. I can link a copy for it in the description if you're interested. I really like these pancakes. They're definitely more on the delicate side. Like, reuse them, but they're so good if you pop them in the toaster or stuff. They're so delicious. I really like them with Greek yogurt and a peanut drizzle, kind of like a homemade peanut sauce where you use defatted peanut butter, so there's no fat, and then maybe if you make up some maple syrup, that's really, really easy. It's basically just water, maple extract, and some sweetener, and maybe a bit of glucomannan for thickener, but it's so good. It's like the best breakfast ever. It leaves you feeling super full and satisfied. And then you can also add some blueberries if you want. It's an awesome one. Once it's done, you'll want to let it sit for like 10 minutes just to let it fully set or whatever, and then you're good to go and to start making it.
Be careful, jerky. Look, this right here is ouchie, okay? It's gonna be hot, okay? You want to do the dishes?
I left that little clip in of my turkey just because I thought it might be helpful to somebody else. There's times where I feel like there's always learning opportunities, and so I thought this was a great one just to reinforce that when something's hot, you don't touch it. So I think he understood it. He was more curious to see what I was doing than anything else, and I made sure to keep an eye on him, so he didn't touch it. And yeah, he was fine. He didn't touch it at all. I thought since I was doing them, I might as well go ahead and do a second batch. So that's what I did. I whipped up another batch and got it going. I think somehow I got the measurements off because it was way runnier than it should have been. So I ended up adding more baking blend and more oats to it just to thicken it up a bit more. And it turned out great. You can also see the little darling was up from her nap. Sometimes the reason I had the sound off on these videos are because the kids are chattering, making noises, or squealing, or whatever, and what you don't see is me bouncing back and forth, like getting them their toys, and then going and getting them the thing they dropped, or helping, say, Dirk off the counter, or stuff like that. You're always going back and forth, but it's awesome. They're definitely much happier when they're with me. So I have Sheila like next to me in her bumbo watching, and the little turkey, he's, I don't know, doing something. Doing something next to me, playing in the sink water or whatever. They're honestly the most happiest when they're with me. You know, they've got toys and stuff, but more often than not, they're happy to hang out with me. Although you will find the turkey occasionally during the day you'll find him playing with his toys, lining his cars up, but for the most part he prefers to be right next to me. Once they were done, I was very eager to get them put away, as you can see. So I threw them in those bags, about one serving for Dirk and one for me. And then I set them aside to let them cool, because it's pretty obvious they're still quite warm. And then it was back to finishing up the rest of the pancakes. Once they were done, I wiped down the griddle. I find it's the easiest to clean when it's warm. Then you can wipe the oil off and stuff, and it comes off just awesome. Then it was on to putting up those measuring cups. I was very excited about this because I've had these measuring cups for a while. We got them at a local auction. I remember when they were going through the box showing everybody what was in it. It was a bunch of miscellaneous stuff, and I saw the copper measuring cups, and I was like, oh, I want that box. And so my husband, he made sure we got it, and it was so nice. I think we paid like $35 for the box of them, which I figured was well worth it. They're super heavy measuring cups and just a thin layer of copper on them, but they're definitely not new. They are old, and so I was like, that's all that matters. I've been having them sitting on the counter for quite a while. I was like, I need to do something with them. I need to find a place for them. I use them occasionally, not a ton. So I decided I wanted to put them on the wall over where I would probably use them the most. Typically, I would have wanted to have done maybe a more secure, I don't know, sturdier way of attaching them to the wall. But since I figure I'm not going to use them a ton, they're not going to get used like 3 times a day, that this would probably work. I'll just be careful when I take them off the wall to not really pull on the nails. I mean, the nails are in pretty securely, but I'm just going to be aware of that. And I figure they should hold up pretty good in their new spot. And I think they looked really nice once they were all up and in place. Well, you guys, that's the end of the video for today. But if you come back, the next video that's going to be going up shortly is going to be part 2. And I'm excited about that one because I did a little bit more work on the wall in our room where, if you remember, we did the green accent wall. Anyhow, I had some stuff to add to that. And then I also did a couple sewing projects that I'm excited to show you guys. Reusing some fabric I had and then sewing a skirt. So anyways, I hope you guys can come back and take a little look at that one. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. I really appreciate you guys, your comments you leave, and the things that you share. So thank you so much, and you guys have a great day.